How close are we to potentially seeing the U.S. president touch down in Tel Aviv?
So we are talking about the possibility of a visit. It's in discussions between our two governments. Nothing has been finalized, so there's nothing to announce at this point.
Considering some of the apparent intelligence failures ahead of the attack on Israel, Mr. Ambassador, can you ensure the safety of the American president if he were to visit?
I believe the U.S. government makes a very close assessment of the risk. I also believe that people will think 10 times before targeting the U.S. president because there's still U.S. deterrence. You're a superpower. But again, it's a decision of the U.S. government, not of us.
What assurances do you want to hear from the President of the United States if he were to visit Israel?
First, I believe a presidential visit is highly important in the sense of showing solidarity with Israel under attack. War was imposed on us, an all-out war by a terror organization which has carried out one of the biggest and most severe terror attacks in modern history. We are at war, and the U.S. backing and support is very important. A presidential visit sends a very strong message of support to Israel and a deterrent message to Israel's enemies.
Bloomberg is reporting, Mr. Ambassador, that some 1,200 Palestinians may be under rubble right now in Gaza. You've made clear that you are waging war against Hamas. To what extent will the Israeli government be able to protect civilian life in Gaza and in fact, help those 1,200 people, some of whom may still be alive?
So let me be clear. We are waging war against Hamas, a U.S.-designated terror organization that launched war against us. We are not waging war against the Palestinian people or innocent civilians in Gaza. To the contrary, we called on them to leave the war zones. We are creating a humanitarian zone for them. We are working with the UN to look after their needs. We are doing everything possible to get them out of harm's way, while Hamas is doing everything possible to keep them in harm's way as human shields. I cannot relate to specific numbers because I think there's a lot of misinformation and there's a fog of war. But we are doing everything possible that civilians will not be hurt. That's why we called on them to leave their homes and go down away from the war zone. Whenever we strike in Gaza and military targets, we call on civilian populations who are there trapped by Hamas to leave their homes. I don't believe that any other army operates in the same way we do.
The United Nations this morning in their report on what is going on in Gaza said that, quote, there are not enough body bags for the dead in Gaza, and Gaza has severely limited access to clean drinking water. And then President Sisi of Egypt said that now this is seeming like it's, quote, collective punishment. What is your response?
We are targeting military targets, Hamas's military wing, their military infrastructure, their military capabilities, and those who guide and command it. They are our targets. Unfortunately, they turn the people of Gaza into human shields. That's why we call on them to leave. We are not like them. We are not targeting civilians. And the fact that it's a tragedy that civilians get hurt because of the war, but let's not forget, we did not start this war. We did not initiate this war. We did not want this war. It was started by Hamas. It was imposed on us, and we have to fight and win that war in the sense that we will not be able to threaten us. And to the extent that civilians are suffering or comes in harm's way, it's the main responsibility of Hamas, who trapped them, who uses them as human shields, who prevents them to move away from the war zone to the south where we are establishing a humanitarian zone. Hamas is blocking them, establishing roadblocks, confiscating their car keys, and threatening them. That's the reality on the ground.
When will Israel begin the assault on Gaza then, Mr. Ambassador? Are you holding off because of humanitarian concerns? There have been calls to create a safe zone and to create a humanitarian corridor. Is that a priority?
Of course, it's a priority, but I'm not going to put a timetable on the on the ground operation. We are preparing it. Everybody knows that it's in the works. And when it comes, it comes. Again, this is a war that we have to fight. It was imposed on us. And there's no other option for Israel strategically other than defeating Hamas. Because if we don't, then we invite further aggressions, more severe aggression against the state of Israel by Hamas and by Hamas's allies and by their patrons in Tehran.
Do you think you can root out Hamas without occupying Gaza?
It is not our intention to reoccupy Gaza and rule over the lives of 2 million Palestinians. That definitely is not the option. But given the fact that we are at war, we cannot conduct the war only through airstrikes. And as everybody knows, we are preparing also a ground operation. Ground operation doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to occupy Gaza and stay there for years. That is not the intention.
Will you continue to attempt to find hostages then until and after a ground invasion occurs? Or is this the window of opportunity now, Mr. Ambassador?
Well, the issue of hostages is very high on our agenda for obvious reasons. We are still in the process of trying to form an accurate picture of how many kidnapped people are there, who they are, and what is their exact condition. And as we go along, we'll see what we can do about this issue. But we hold Hamas accountable for any harm done to any of the kidnapped. We're talking about close to 200 people, not only Israelis. There are Americans there. There are other nations there. You have to understand that the terror attack that Hamas carried out on October 7th killed and kidnapped people from over 40 nations. This was an international terror attack.